Emily began. I will recount how I seized control of my life, halting my husband Ethan's destructive influence. For privacy, I'll use pseudonyms. As a prominent lawyer, anonymity is crucial. Let's skip the intricacies of our love story. We fell, married, divorced. The love wasn't reciprocal. Ethan cheated. Signs were apparent: avoidance, excessive time away, frequent business trips. I wasn't involved in his sizable business, and despite my success, Ethan considered me a failure for earning less. One day, during another business trip, I investigated. On his old laptop, I found a secret Facebook account confirming his infidelity with a woman he found more attractive, constantly criticizing my appearance. Heartbroken, angered, I confronted him. Ethan, are you cheating? I have proof. Ethan callously responded, Emily, you're just not that interesting anymore. You're always engrossed in pointless cases, neglecting me. Besides, you're not a supermodel. Confused, I retorted, What are you talking about? I have a demanding job you knew about. I haven't neglected you. You stopped coming home, refusing to communicate. That's how I discovered his affair. I anticipated remorse, but his cold response caught me off guard. He shifted blame, justifying his cheating, a claim devoid of validity. Refusing to be falsely accused, I pointed out the flaws. Instead of defending himself, he coldly revealed he was relieved I discovered his affair. Good that you found out, Emily, Ethan declared chillingly. I no longer have to hide my beautiful girlfriend. We'll have a perfect life after I divorce your useless self. Finally, I'll marry someone worthy of me and my name. His words hit like a ton of bricks, sending a shiver down my spine. He not only insulted me, but asserted I wasn't good enough, accusing me of being a bad wife, boasting about how his Ashley would be a better spouse. Tears streamed as he demeaned me, proclaiming his affair with pride. This was the man I loved for over a decade, and his words shattered me. Through tears, I asked, How could you say that, Ethan? All these years I've been beside you, through thick and thin, honoring my vows, valuing you above all else. Then his callous response cut deep, dismissing my worth. Well, Emily, it doesn't matter anymore. You're just not right for me. I'm now a proud business owner, and a woman with average looks and a pretentious law degree won't do me any good. Feeling utterly demeaned, I protested. How could you, Ethan? I'm a capable woman, even if I don't fit your narrow definition of beauty. I've been a good wife to you, and now you're contemplating divorce? Correcting me coldly, he stated, I'm not contemplating divorce, Emily. I've already decided to divorce you. I'm done. I don't want to be with you anymore. I'll file soon and have already hired a great lawyer. You better move out before I come home. I don't want to see your ugly face anymore. A few hours later, Ethan sent divorce papers through a sympathetic friend. I numbly accepted, shut the door, and cried miserably, letting the reality of wasted years sink in. However, I decided I wouldn't break. I was a strong woman who would take control and teach Ethan a lesson. Ethan's friend mentioned he wanted to draw out the divorce. Initially puzzled, it dawned on me. We had a prenup. Ethan insisted I was entitled to half his business if he cheated, something I overlooked in my turmoil. It made sense why Ethan wanted to prolong the divorce. He hoped I'd give up my share. Determined not to let go, I called his lawyer and set an appointment. Within days, I moved into my childhood home, in my name. I texted Ethan I'd moved, asserting, I took my ugly face and body out of your damn house. Good that you've come to your senses and not making a fuss, Ethan responded, boasting about his lawyer. I calmly warned him, I won't give you my business. For now, stay away from me. Determined to uphold the prenup, I was ready for challenges. I don't want to talk, only speak to my lawyers. Empty my house! Ethan's words ignited rage. Anger and hatred fueled my determination. My mind cleared. I almost laughed at Ethan's ignorance. He had no clue who he was up against, doubtful his lawyer, Miller, knew either. I arranged a meeting. Upon seeing me, Miller trembled, calming upon recognizing me. He seemed confident, but not enough. Miller was decent, but unprepared for someone like me. Ethan never considered me influential, so Miller was utterly unprepared. Miller appeared nervous. His hands shook, but I refrained from intimidation. He wasn't to blame. Hello, Miller, nice to see you, I greeted, noticing his surprise. If you have doubts, I'm the wife. Ma'am, I'm so sorry, I wasn't expecting you, Miller stammered. Surnames don't match because I married after my law degree. I used my maiden name for official purposes, I explained. I see, Miller muttered. So you want to drag this out? My client told me. Your client is misleading you, Miller. He wants to prolong this, doesn't he? I confronted him, knowing my reputation spoke volumes. Miller squirmed. Accustomed to asking the right questions, I didn't mince words. You don't have to answer, Miller. I've known Ethan for over a decade. I married that idiot for God's sake. I know what goes through his thick head. Concerned for Miller's predicament, I decided to enlighten him. Since I know you, I'll tell the truth about this divorce. What do you mean, ma'am? Miller inquired. Did my dear husband mention he cheated on me? I asked pointedly, watching Miller's expression. His reaction spoke volumes. Miller was caught off guard. I won't lie. It stung to admit to my colleague I've been cheated on. It's not pleasant, but I knew better than to betray my emotions. I had the upper hand. Miller didn't know. He said, "Oh no, he didn't tell me about that. But he warned me you'd make baseless accusations to ruin him." Oh, you poor thing, Miller. Your client played you like a fiddle. Though it might make you happy, Ethan thinks you're one of the best lawyers. Well, that's a compliment, but I'll never measure up to you, ma'am, Miller confessed. I wish he'd told me his wife practices law. He only said you work at a firm. My husband never took my accomplishments seriously. He undermined my work. It was foolish to stay this long. However, it was smart to sign the prenup to save my butt. Miller was completely taken aback by the prenup. He looked shocked, the term foreign. I didn't need to be a rocket scientist to know he'd been ambushed again. Ethan conveniently forgot, hoping I'd forgotten too. Well, the word was out. Miller was frazzled. There's a prenup? He hadn't mentioned that. Do you have proof? Oh, I have plenty, Miller. I brought the papers. I felt Ethan would try to get out of consequences. Well, not on my watch. I'd like to see the papers and proof of the affair if you have any. Don't worry, Miller. I brought everything. It isn't me who wants to drag this out. The sooner the better. I handed over everything. Messages, pictures, documents. I had all the proof in my handbag, casually giving them to Miller, knowing the case would always favor me. Miller studied each document thoroughly, looking rather beaten. He then looked at me and said, I see that you have solid proof of everything, ma'am. I had no idea about all of these things. I figured that out, Miller. Also, I know how difficult it is to work with unreliable clients, especially when the opposite party has an equally strong lawyer. You're right, ma'am. I think that's all I needed today. I need a serious conversation with my client before proceeding. Someone will contact you, though it might not be me. I could tell what Miller was hinting at, but didn't comment. I thanked him and walked out, going straight to work to prepare my documents. All lingering sadness was gone, replaced by rage, driving me to make Ethan suffer. He had no way out. It took Ethan one day to get back to me. He called me, despite telling me not to. It was funny. I knew he would find himself in this situation. When I answered, he sounded pissed off. What the hell did you say to my lawyer, Emily? My, look who's calling after telling me to stay away. What happened with your lawyer? Stop playing around, Emily. Tell me what you told him that made him quit today. Your lawyer quit today? How sad, Ethan. I guess you should have been honest about your situation and who they would be fighting against. You don't know what you're saying. You're a freaking nobody. I won't let you take away my family business. Oh, I would like to see you try, Ethan. I will hire a better lawyer. Just wait and watch. I will destroy you in court. You will come to me begging for mercy. Well, sounds like a plan, Ethan. Good luck, but a word of advice from a lawyer. Remember to tell your new lawyer about your affair and the prenup. When I said that, Ethan simply hung up. It made me chuckle. He was in deep trouble but didn't know it. He would try every lawyer, see if anyone would represent him. I am a known name here, so people move not to mess with me. Plus, anyone stupid enough to believe his lies would be dragged down to reality when I presented them with my ammo. Ethan said he would make me beg for mercy. I knew it would be a matter of time before he would come begging at my door. I was right. Ethan would be back begging. He had no choice. One morning, while I was getting ready, there was a knock. I was confused about who showed up at such an odd time. Imagine my surprise when I opened the door and found my soon-to-be ex-husband looking forlorn and weary. I invited him in because I didn't want the scene outside. I was already dealing with enough. When he came inside, I said, "Make it quick, Ethan. I don't have enough time to waste on you. I don't even know why you're here. We were supposed to communicate through lawyers only." "Yeah, about that. I haven't found a good divorce lawyer yet."
"Oh, that's sad for you, Ethan. You better hurry up because I hear your Ashley has been dying to marry you."
"I'm not worried about her anymore."
"Listen, Emily, we need to talk. You have been sabotaging my lawyers so they wouldn't take my case. That is very unfair."
I laughed. I couldn't believe Ethan would have the audacity to pin the blame on me. This showed how little he valued my profession. He thought that just because he was willing to throw money, people would pull at his feet. "Oh dear, that's an amazing joke, Ethan. Let me just clear that misconception. Oh, I haven't been sabotaging anything. It's your stupidity that's causing trouble." "I don't understand. What did I even do?" "Should I remind you how you lied to your lawyers about the affair and the prenup? That is enough to make them look like fools in court. Do you think lawyers would jump at representing unreliable clients like you? Besides, I will admit that my name will make a lot of people walk away. You may consider me to be useless, but I actually do have a good name in this profession." "Yes, I know that now, Emily. I've tried being open with lawyers, but none are willing to help me. That's what happens when you try to go against an ironclad prenup. You really should have thought your affair through, Ethan. Not that it matters now. The damage is done. No sane lawyer would fight for your cause. You'll be giving me half of your business." Ethan's expression said it all. He didn't want to lose his business. I mean, that's why he tried to pick a good lawyer and drag out the divorce. He wanted to keep me hanging long enough until I would snap and just leave him alone without demanding half of his company. After a few days, it became clear to him that no one would take his side. Hell, he was even finding it hard to find any lawyer who would go against me, so he did what he thought was his last resort. He started to cry and beg. "Emily, you know how much this business means to me. Please don't do this. You can take everything else, but please don't ask to split the business." "Why not, Ethan? You were the one who put in the clause of splitting the business in case you cheated. You think I will give up my rights that easily? I deserve it after the betrayal you threw in my face." "It was all a mistake, Emily. Believe me. I have actually put my relationship on hold because I know what a big mistake it was. Maybe, just maybe, we can give this marriage a try. I can say for sure that this hurdle will only make us stronger." Ethan's words made me laugh out loud again. The audacity of this man was unmatched by anyone I knew. I really didn't know what to say. He was actually asking to get back together as if I would be stupid enough to do that. I did know that he had put a pause on his relationship with his Ashley. The rumors were out that the Ashley was not happy, and neither was Ethan, but if he thinks this will make me go back to him, he is dead wrong. I already made the mistake of marrying a piece of shit and learned my lesson the hard way. Plus, I knew why he was suddenly desperate to get me back. "You must be delusional for suggesting something like that, Ethan. I didn't come this far in life by being utterly stupid. I know that you want to get back to me because you don't want to split your business. Emily, we were happy together. Let's just look past this one time and restart our marriage. I will cut off my Ashley, I swear." "There's no reason to do that, Ethan. Believe me, that woman is going to start running once she finds out that you won't be very rich after the divorce. As for me, this is my golden chance to get out of this sham of a marriage. I must thank you for showing your true colors before we had kids. Now you will reap what you have sown." With that, I was pretty much done with my piece. I immediately stopped talking while Ethan kept begging and pleading with me not to take his business. It was a rather pathetic scene, but it didn't move me at all. Instead, it made me think of the times I went to bed crying because this piece of exploitive I call my husband decided to betray me. Seeing Ethan in a vulnerable place only gave me satisfaction and completed my revenge. Now I simply needed a clean break to start fresh. Well, I definitely got more than what I had bargained for. Karma hit Ethan hard and fast. He tried for weeks to change my mind and make me come back home. I turned a blind eye to everything simply because I wasn't interested in his drama. I was ready to move on. Since he had filed for divorce already, I hired someone from my firm to represent me. I'm not a divorce lawyer, so I couldn't do it myself. Besides, I wanted as minimum interaction with him as possible. After a month of trying to change my mind, he was forced to get a lawyer and ask for a clean break. He knew that if I took the case to court, he would only face humiliation and ultimately waste money on lawyers appointed by the court, so he receded and asked for a mutual split. The prenup made it super easy for me to get the divorce. Of course, I had plenty of proof to show everyone that Ethan cheated. As per the prenup, he was supposed to give up half of his business to me. He wasn't happy, but there was no way out, so he signed over half of it to me. We did give him an offer to buy me out, but he had no money. Now, why would a big business owner like Ethan have no money, you ask? Well, he had spent it all on his Ashley, who is now not taking his calls or texts. I guess she figured out that he won't be rich anymore, but now no one is willing to date her because they know what a gold digger she is. What goes around comes around, I guess. Well, the Ashley was the least of Ethan's troubles. With half of his business gone, his earnings were severely reduced. He had to sell his house because he didn't have much money to maintain it or even pay the mortgage properly. He's currently renting a condo that is a serious downgrade from the big mansion he stayed at. He did try to get back with me again in the hopes of regaining full control of his business. Well, safe to say that is never happening. He now either has to continue the way it is or manage to save enough money to buy me out. If you want to know about me, I'm actually doing pretty well. I have appointed someone to take care of my share of Ethan's business, and so far, things have been amazing. I ended up upgrading my lifestyle by buying a new mansion due to my combined income from law practice and business. Things are going well, I'm living my best life, and I honestly couldn't be happier. All in all, the divorce played out well for me. Instead of getting played by my ex-husband and his Ashley, I ended up ruining their lives and bettering mine. Emily paused, taking a sip of water, her eyes reflecting a newfound strength. The aftermath of the divorce was cathartic, to say the least. While Ethan spiraled, entangled in the consequences of his actions, I began to truly live. The initial anger and hurt gradually morphed into a quiet determination to rebuild. Not just my life, but myself. I threw myself into my work, taking on pro bono cases, fighting for those who couldn't afford legal representation. It was fulfilling, giving me a sense of purpose that Ethan's superficial world never could. The new mansion, which I initially viewed as a symbol of victory, eventually became a sanctuary. I redecorated it to reflect my own tastes, filling it with art and books, creating a space that was both elegant and comfortable. I invited friends over for dinner parties, laughter filling the rooms that had once echoed with silence and tension. I even adopted a rescue dog, a scruffy terrier mix named Winston, who quickly became my loyal companion, always there to greet me with a wagging tail and a wet nose. Of course, there were still moments of doubt, whispers of insecurity that Ethan had planted in my mind. But I learned to recognize them, to challenge them, to remind myself of my own worth. I started practicing yoga and meditation, finding solace in the stillness, reconnecting with my inner self. I even took up painting, discovering a hidden talent I never knew I possessed. The canvas became my outlet, a place to express my emotions, to create beauty from the ashes of my past. Ethan, on the other hand, continued his downward trajectory. He tried to salvage his business, but his reputation was tarnished, and his judgment was clouded by bitterness and resentment. He bounced from one failed relationship to another, desperately seeking the validation he craved. I heard through mutual acquaintances that he was increasingly isolated, his once boisterous laughter replaced by a hollow echo. One evening, months after the divorce was finalized, I received a call from Ethan. I hesitated before answering, my heart pounding in my chest. When I finally did, his voice was barely a whisper. "Emily, I need help," he croaked. I was surprised by his vulnerability. This wasn't the arrogant, self-assured man I had known. This was a broken, desperate soul. "What kind of help, Ethan?" I asked, my voice carefully neutral. I've made a mess of everything," he confessed. "The business is failing, I'm drowning in debt, and I'm all alone." I listened in silence, my mind racing. Part of me wanted to revel in his misery, to remind him of the pain he had inflicted on me. But another part of me, the part that still remembered the man I had once loved, felt a pang of sympathy.
I don't know what to do, he pleaded. I'm begging you, Emily. Can you help me?
I took a deep breath, weighing my options. I could easily turn my back on him, let him wallow in his self-inflicted misery. But that wasn't who I was. I was a lawyer, a problem solver, a person who believed in second chances. I can't fix everything, Ethan, I said slowly, but I can point you in the right direction. I know some people who might be able to help you with your business, and I can recommend a therapist who specializes in addiction and self-destructive behavior. There was a long pause. Then Ethan said, his voice filled with a mix of gratitude and disbelief, You would do that for me?
I'm not doing it for you, Ethan, I replied firmly. I'm doing it for myself. I need to close this chapter of my life, and I can't do that if you're still dragging me down with you.
I spent the next few weeks helping Ethan find the resources he needed. I connected him with a business consultant who specialized in turnaround strategies, and I made an appointment for him with a highly recommended therapist. I didn't expect him to change overnight, but I hoped that he would at least take the first steps towards recovery. To my surprise, Ethan actually followed through. He attended therapy sessions regularly, and he worked diligently with the business consultant. He even apologized to me, a sincere, heartfelt apology that finally acknowledged the pain he had caused. I didn't forgive him instantly, but I did begin to see him in a new light. He was no longer the villain in my story. He was simply a flawed human being who had made mistakes. And perhaps, just perhaps, he was capable of redemption. The story of Emily and Ethan doesn't have a fairy tale ending. We didn't get back together, and we didn't become best friends. But we did reach a point of mutual respect and understanding. We learned to coexist peacefully, acknowledging our shared past without letting it define our future. And in the end, that was enough. Emily finished, a subtle smile gracing her lips. That was how I took control, not by crushing him, but by choosing myself.